Oh my goodness. It's nice when everything actually works. Oh dearie me. So yeah, hello, good morning. Probably no one here because it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, but hey ho, we're here anyway, as you do. So, why on here? The general idea of me coming to Mixer, like, some people may find me from other places, shall we say, but Mixer is essentially doing things very differently, and the main idea for this setup is purely to try and, for lack of a better phrase, foster a nicer community. That's about as best as I can describe it. So like you'll find things like, because it's a smaller community right now and stuff, you have a little bit more control over things. So that's also why I'm trying to limit exactly how much of myself as such you might see. So like for example, I'm just showing the game, and the stuff that's in the bottom corner is purely to hide the chat. Like I could show the chat, but it's like I don't want to inconvenience other people in a game just for the sake of me showing stuff. So there's that. Also, yeah, because it's like a brand new setup, it's going to be like very different to stuff I might have done in the past and stuff like that. You know, it's just something different. We can mess around. A little bit more control to play around. So yeah, like a lot of the stuff early on here is very much going to be a case of no real set format or anything. I do have like a lot of bots and stuff set up to help me and you guys out. but I would say a big chunk of those settings have actually been turned off. Hey Nimbus, hello, good morning. I know, dude. Shiny and new, a mixer. It's scary. Also, my voice has decided that it wants to disagree with me this morning. I'm very, very croaky this morning. But damn it, I said I was going to start on Monday at 10 and I'm here at 10. Struggling with my voice, but hey ho. So yeah, I was out walking my dog this morning, you know, as you do, early in the morning, and I could like already feel my throat going on me, and I was like, not today, not today. But yeah, so I'm gonna be messing around. Yeah, man. I used to stream Final Fantasy 14. Like, this is like back when I was doing Twitch, way before I started doing stuff on logical increments and stuff like that, like doing other work basically. And like way back on Twitch, I used to have like, I don't know, like it was, I think like the average for Final Fantasy 14 back then was like around about 150 people. And that was like, God, that was like the back end of 2015 sort of time. And like, Final Fantasy 14 has never had a big streaming presence. I mean, there's a couple of big fellas who are still involved in it, but it's never had a big streaming presence anyway. And yeah, when I was like looking at stuff on Mixer and things, I was like, well, I'm still playing Final Fantasy 14 anyway, and there seems to be no one playing it at all on Mixer, so I was like, why not? Might as well. Yeah, I mean they do have like I mean, again, I mean this isn't anything against those because like they have an established audience, and you know that's what it is. And there's other groups as well that do their stuff on there, and it's not so much like it's a hard platform. I mean, I was going to be doing partner stuff on there like way back in, like I say, just like 2015 sort of time. But yeah, it's probably a different thing now. Like, say if I went back to kind of rebuild what I had like there, it's like I might as well actually come onto a new platform and do it. Probably mainly to actually answer your question about if I'm going to be streaming just Final Fantasy 14. Probably mainly Final Fantasy 14 going forwards. I'm a MMO player at heart anyway, so it's like, although my topics may bounce here, there and everywhere, I'm primarily going to be playing on here anyway. At least that's the plan. I probably will look in on like a few other bits and pieces here and there. I'm kind of, at least initially, probably going to have a look at to see if Destiny 2 ends up being any good on PC. I'm not convinced based off thanks for the follow as well, dude. Thank you. But yeah, I'm not completely convinced about Destiny 2 based on like the beta stuff that's come out. Yeah. just realised like the bots are going overdrive. I've basically got a couple of different bots kind of set up doing their basic functions at the minute because I'm kind of being a little bit standoffish with the bots because I don't necessarily want to customize them too much until I see how people want certain features and stuff. So there's stuff like that. But yeah, man. I mean, that's going to be like the idea anyway. I mean, the main reason why I kind of want to stream Final Fantasy XIV anyway is because I kind of know the game and I can play classes. Even like I literally just hit 70 on Red Mage over the weekend, but it's a dead simple class anyway. But yeah, like because I know the game, I can kind of play it without thinking as much. So it gives me like a little bit more freedom to actually like chat and hang out and do this, that, and everything else. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing against like that sort of stuff. I mean, I think I think it is a sort of situation where if you're wanting to have the variety in streamers and stuff, I mean, and again, this is kind of part of why I don't put my webcam on, because one, my webcam is crap and it would look awful, but two, like stuff like that, it's like everyone seems to have like the webcam with or without green screen, and you know, they have like loads and loads and loads of stuff on. I mean, this stuff in the bottom corner here is purely to hide the in-game chat, because I like actually talking to my free company guys, because we're actually only a small group as well. You know, there's only so many of us, so we've kind of kept like quite a small knit group as well. Because again, I'm on Omega, so like I moved and I was very particular about trying to find like a nice little group of people to play with and stuff. But yeah, man, it's a big thing of where, again, it's like how do you, and I've done this loads of times and stuff, because like I've got guides and stuff over on logical increments and stuff as well for streamers, but it's like how do you, like at this point, how do you still distinguish yourself as a streamer when there's like everyone seems to do like the same thing? So it's like I don't want to kind of like some of the stuff I kind of want to pick on and have like similar things, but like at the same time it's like, why do what every single other person's doing at this point, you know? Oh dude, I haven't played that long. I mean, I kind of was on and off it for like a number of years, because like the whole thing of when I was first sort of playing, it was kind of like a secondary game for me to have on stream sort of thing. Like, again, back in like Twitch days and stuff. Back in my day. You know, before, well, even like 2 years back, Twitch was like a zoo then. But even then, you know, it's like some of the stuff I was doing on there, it wasn't necessarily like primarily this game and stuff. So yeah, it's very hard to like just come into something and try and distinguish yourself. I mean, hell, with like the mixer stuff and things, I mean, I've managed to get myself involved in so much more stuff so much more quickly. Like I'm one of the wiki editors for the subreddit for Mixer and stuff like that. So it's like I'm very much trying to help build out a community here, and you know, it may happen, it may not. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I just want to kind of hang out and have fun with people, you know, chat. And yeah, definitely old man Twitch. Very old man Twitch. One of the things I do want to try and do, I very much want to try and, because I'm actually using the Kupo bot over on like my Discord, to basically have like an extra thing for more information and stuff for people. And one of the things I want to do is, because when I actually get a chance, I actually want to try and speak to the creator of it. Because you can, as you can kind of see with some of my stuff here on the Mixer chat already, it's like you can obviously have bots running in the chat and stuff on here. And I would love if I can work out a way with him to have it integrated into Mixer chat directly. Because it works really well on Discord. Like there's piles of commands and stuff, and people can look up information and this, that, and everything else. But I would love to kind of have that in Mixer chat as well for stuff. So, I mean, there's piles and piles of stuff I still want to do, but I haven't got time to do yet. But it's like, must believe. And yeah, it's like there's little things like because I'm technically part of like an established brand, both for like what I do with like logical increments and my numbers on Twitch are pretty much as near as makes no difference. Yeah, it's like from like 2 years ago, but like they've dropped a little bit since then. Because obviously, like, you start to have people like leaving your stuff because you haven't touched it in like that long. But even just off my own Twitch channel, I would have been effectively able to apply for partner here on Mixer, just basically as essentially as like an existing talent on a different network. So I'm basically speaking with them behind the scenes now as well to like. So I want to try and showcase as much stuff as possible on here. I mean, at the minute, I only actually stream in 720p on here, even though over the weekend and stuff, I was testing like how fast I can actually get stuff, and I can go all the way up to like the 10,000 kilobytes per second and stuff like that. So it's like, if they give me the option to do it, I can kind of go bonkers with it. But yeah, like at the minute, it's like whether they can give me that or not. But it's like, even if they don't, it's like I'm still going to be here kind of chilling and chatting and stuff. And yeah, the idea is kind of like just hopefully helping other people out and stuff as well. Yeah, here's the pain of doing this stuff early in the morning though. It's like trying to get a dungeon to pop at like like 10 in the morning. Of course, dude. Yeah, I mean, I'm completely open to like feedback and stuff. It's like I have absolutely no qualms if people want to give me comments and stuff. I literally said it earlier. I mean, like, part of why I haven't touched a lot of stuff on here is I kind of want the channel to effectively evolve based on how people want me to run stuff. So it's like, it's very limited to at least for me, I'm not kind of making it for myself, if that makes sense. I kind of want it to be something that the people who watch it kind of build out. So yeah, the short answer is by all means. I thought I had that fixed. Is it not coming through particularly clear? Hang on. That's not good at all. I know why. It's because I've got a certain amount of background audio running. Hang on. Let's Let's do that. I've just turned the actual in-game audio down a smidge. Because I'm using, again, because I have a lot of equipment here already anyway. So I have like mixers set up and all sorts that people won't ever get to see. So hopefully the game should be a fair old bit quieter now. Cool. Yeah, I have things running on. I am wondering why stuff isn't updating probably because, not if I don't mind your follow sitting there, but it should only flash. It's nice when everything works. It's something I can deal with later. But yeah, with it kind of being like the first one where I've gone properly live and I'm just basically letting things run and see what works and what doesn't. Yeah, for stuff like that, it's whatever. It's not the one that's the only one I actually picked up on when I was doing, because I was kind of like testing like bit rates and stuff over the weekend. The one that sounds really bad is the little like finger snap you get from when impact hits. That one's pretty, like, it just glares because of the actual like sharpness of the sound. So that one's kind of a bad one. The thunder as well can be a bit chronic at times. But yeah, some of it's just But yeah, I mean, stuff like that as well is, I mean, that's a big part of why, at least right now, I don't have any music on stream as well. Because the in-game stuff is so good. And yeah, it's like I don't want to get in the way of in-game stuff at all. Sam's a bad. Yeah, Sam has some issues. I mean, the thing that is, technically, if I actually like go into like my gear set, technically I main Astral Illusion, but I haven't touched it since I started leveling Red Mage. So it's like, I was at the point of waiting for Omega to drop with that, and then because like there was like a slight gap in time, I was like, well, I haven't really tried Red Mage yet, I might as well, sort of thing, because I'd unlocked it but not touched it, hence why it's kind of like sitting in the middle of like a pile of stuff here. So I was like, well, I should try it, and it's like I haven't gone back to anything else. So it's like now I'm kind of just like, eh. That's kind of it. I haven't even got I've completely changed my UI over for Red Mage and stuff as well, to the point of where I clean forgot to actually save a layout for my Astro. So it's like if I actually switch over, there's random nonsense like I've got like an extra bar up here from where like I basically dumped the 4th bar, because like I just didn't actually bother. It's like I didn't actually bother saving what I used to have because I'm an idiot. So there's like this stuff like that where it's like I just haven't saved stuff. I mean, I can technically play because I mean this is only like buffs and stances and things, so it's like I could probably technically get away with it. But yeah, it's not exactly ideal. Oh dear. Yeah, those are the breaks. I will say this is kind of like one of the nicer things with actually running a DPS role at the minute, is that I do actually get time in between the chat and stuff as well. It's like I can just ignore the cues and it's like it'll pop when it pops and then we can play. Let's just actually say hello to people in chat. Oh no! DPS disconnected! But yeah, I've ended up like just becoming absolutely obsessed with Red Mage. So it's like, I didn't actually bother playing anything else. Like, up until, yeah, well like, hell, like up until now, basically. And yeah, it's like it's kind of one of those, like I've just become obsessed with Red Mage. It's like I don't want to play anything else now. Damn them for making good design choices. It's like, how dare they? Yeah, it's like just messing around with it. It's like it's just. It's so much fun, and it probably shouldn't be so much fun for what is not the most complex of like classes and stuff, but oh, it's just so good. And yeah, it's like you kind of get into not even like a repetitive thing, it's like it's sort of, because of how well the class flows, you very rarely end up having to think about how you're playing the class. Like, admittedly, I do still screw up every now and then, because like because like you kind of get into a rhythm with stuff. It's like you'll occasionally like accidentally trigger like the wrong skill and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, you do have to kind of pay attention, but yeah, it's such a forgiving class. And yeah, this is kind of why it's like I don't want to get in the way of like the music and stuff as well. Because like the music's so damn good. And yeah, there is sort of a situation now with this stuff where it's like I kind of not so much go into like automatic as such with it, but yeah, it's like you will find that you can sort of mess around with it and have fun with the class. It's very forgiving compared to some of the others, I will say that, for a DPS one anyway. I really do pity some of the other DPS options in the game, because some of them are like massively complicated compared to this. I tell you, this is it's just a very nice, it fits me basically, because it's a very nice chilled sort of style. It's like I don't have to put like piles and piles and piles of effort into learning all the ins and outs of it, it just kind of has a very nice flow to it. Realistically, I probably should have told them that this is my first time running a DPS in this dungeon, but eh. That's the thing with me running Astrolugion first. Like, I literally played the entire expansion with that. It's like I played through all of this with that, so it's like I know what's going to be happening and stuff anyway. But yeah, playing it as a DPS, a little bit different. Not much, but there's a little bit in it. Run away! Probably should have saved that, but screw it. Like, there was no need for me to actually burn that there at all. I really shouldn't have. So, nah. Let's see if we can we keep these in the one place. Oops. I really didn't want to cast that. I'm stuck casting it now. Screw you! Hang on. Let's move out the way of this crap quick. Oh, no, never mind. I was like, we need to move out the way of this nonsense. Game said no. Damn you! Let's give him all my mana. As a thank you for healing me, you can have what is left of my mana. If anyone else has any mana, please pass it my way. Wants to buy skills. Ow. Painful. I mean, in a perfect world, I shouldn't have actually given him my mana, but in fairness, he did literally just burn everything on me. Oh, are you doing that over there? Run away! I want to die again, please. Yoink. Yeah, I've got like nothing. And I'm also stacked with white, which is like not exactly ideal either. Ah, screw this. Think I can still do damage. Oh no. Gotta believe. See, we can finish even when I have no mana. Ouch. Yeah, that was a little rough, but hey ho. At least when you're out of combat, your mana pretty much comes back instantly. It's one of the more useful things. It's like, so long as I don't die, it's fine. When you die, that's when things go horribly, horribly wrong. I do love the extra skills you get at like high level. These two. Just because, like, you know, the one thing that Summoner really needed was more DPS. Not that I'm complaining, mind you. Oh, we almost had that. Boo. yeah, this is where it kind of starts to get a little bit more bonkers. But it's like you just basically have everything proccing on you. It's like, yay! Easy mode! It's like I don't even have to think about proccing stuff. The game really does like me. But yeah, it's like I listen to the stuff from things like the Limit Break Radio guys and stuff as well, and you know, this is the thing with like this game. It's like it's not like a new game or anything. So you know, at least in my eyes when I'm streaming it, it's like it's like I don't need to kind of not so much be in the way of them, but it's like I don't need to kind of compete with these big existing groups that have been around for the game for like ages. Now, admittedly, with this being a smaller community, like a smaller growing community in general, you are going to be in a situation where you know, it would potentially take you longer to actually like grow an audience, but you know, I would much rather like have that, and you know, be actually able to have the freedom to grow it without necessarily competition, but yeah, like just having like a little bit more freedom to do stuff. Freedom to play the game, and you know, just not necessarily have to like worry about competition, but you know, not being like stepping over other people's toes and stuff. Oh, hey dude. "12 Halias," is that how you'd say that? I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Thank you for the follow there, dude. I should have done that beforehand, but hey. Hey ho, live and learn. And yeah, I mean, it's very much a case of, you know, I actually do want to have time and freedom to build out a community here. Oh crap. That's me not paying attention to what button I'm pressing. But yeah, man, it's like I just want a little bit more freedom to do what I want to on here. Which, you know, that's the good thing about it being like a newer platform and stuff. It's like you can, you know, I can pretty much do whatever the heck I want on here, and you know, it does give me that more time to actually interact with people as well. Oh boy, that was a small waste of mana. I could have just carried on using ranged attacks. Screw it. It's like, ah well. What did I ping then? Oh dear. Yeah, it's like also trying to play this like early in the morning clearly doesn't work very well for me. Brain hasn't really kicked into gear yet. It will eventually, honest. It's like if I could actually get my rotation down, that'd be brilliant. Oh, come on, I was off that. Game, why? Why you do this, game? I was clear. That's kind of one of those where it's like you sometimes get wiggle room for latency for the server, and then sometimes it screws you over. It's like if you're not actually fast enough to get off things. It does have that wonderful habit of screwing with you. You see, I'm complaining saying like my DPS is bad and stuff, and yet I'm still outperforming the other DPS based on how much I'm generating fret, so it's like I'm not doing like absolutely horrifically, but I'm very particular. I'm very particular against my own self. Where they actually start doing their AoE attacks then. That was the worst placement ever. It was like right on top of where I was basically charging in. Oh dear. Hey though. Still got through it. Yeah, you can have my mana as well. Da 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 da. Never a doubt. It's the same thing, kind of like going back to like building this stuff out for like how people want stuff on here. That's kind of actually like, a big thing of why I haven't... Oh, why are you on me? Go away. That's a big thing of why I haven't set up like any of the interactive options on here yet. Because it's purely a case of I want to see what people actually want to have on here. I've seen a couple of really neat examples. I was it's like I've already seen like how people have like the proper full control setups and stuff to play games and things with, which is like ridiculously cool. But like for stuff like that, it's like I wouldn't do that for this game. I don't know why I did that with that amount of mana, but yeah, I couldn't do it with this sort of game just because like there's too many controls to do like on a setup like that. So like, even if I did like an emulated controller setup, it would be way too complicated. But yeah, like that's very much why I haven't actually like specifically set up a lot of that stuff. I just want to have the freedom to, you know, if people like particularly want to have like a certain style of thing, or you know, if someone comes up to me and says, I've got this really cool thing for this game, you know, it doesn't limit me then. So it's like, I don't want to like do, again, it kind of goes back to like what I was saying before, like I don't want to do necessarily what other people have been doing on here. Like I don't want to have like this, I don't necessarily want to have things like the soundboards and stuff like that, because it seems like an easy cop out for stuff. Like that sort of thing is like it's already been done. It's like I want to kind of and again, I was speaking to like other people in like the mixer community as a whole. One of the big things that's limiting right now is Microsoft is still creating a lot of like the new Java libraries and stuff in here. So it's like you can't necessarily code what you want right now. I mean, there's still a fair amount of freedom, but yeah, a lot of people have been saying like, you know, it's like at the minute it's like your limitation is the system, whereas once Microsoft get a lot of that stuff set up, you know, the limitation is going to be, well, how good are you at coding, which is probably going to be like the much better option for people, because then it's like it does free you up to kind of do whatever you want then. It's like you're not really forced into, oh well, I have to have this set up or I have to get this particular style of thing. So yeah, that's going to be like kind of like one of those sort of long-term things, I believe. But it will be interesting to see exactly what comes out from like Microsoft's side of things for that, because it's like, if nothing else, at least, you know, you can't say that they don't know how to code stuff on a very broad sense. So yeah, hopefully there's going to be some like very, very cool stuff coming like further down the road for that. Oops. Hopefully, anyway. One can only hope. Ah. At least now I know that it's the tank who's the new player. He's actually done quite well if he hasn't run this before. It's always the hardest on the tanks and the healers. It's like, I can just sit here and do DPS. They actually have to pay attention to what's going on. It's like I can just lazy mode my way through as a DPS. I love this mechanic, you know, just having like different stuff. You know, it's kind of similar to the oh god, what's the name of it? I'm trying to think of the name of the boss, but it's the one that's when you do the step. And it's like you don't actually do any fighting, it's all just, can you follow the mechanics? You know, stuff like that, it's like I really like. It's again, it's, like, it's a different way that they can like mess around with the formula, so to speak. It's like you're not kind of stuck to doing the one type of style of boss and stuff like that. I really didn't need to do that. I actually ended up getting a bit lucky with the proc of that then. Yeah. So yeah, like little things like this, it's like I still kind of mess up with the class, but like I have only just hit level 70. It's like, give me a break. It's like, oh, I'll still screw up for ages. Oh boy. Oh, I just about got around that. I actually want to try and kill these heads as well, but... Ow! God damn! Oh, this is gonna suck. That's almost killed us all. That was brutal. Oh dear. That's when you know it's gonna go badly wrong. It's like when you leave half the mobs you're meant to kill. Never ends well. Ow. Why you no proc? Yeah, I was gonna say like, is the melee DPS dude gonna use the limit break or not? Whoop. Right, let's actually go about killing these this time. let's try this insane idea. Kill the dragon heads. What is this madness you speak of? Whoop. Oh. It's like just when you don't know like how long their casts are relative to my own. Yay, that's better. Oh dear. Well, you see, we got through it. Relax. Yeah, like of course nothing dropped for me. I am actually gonna give the tank my commendation. Because they did good for running that first time as a tank. And I appreciate my tanks. Wow, someone gave me a player commendation. What is this madness? Like, what? And relax. I think, did I need that? Yeah, that's why I did that. Da 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 da. Want to get myself stuff. So yeah, with only hitting 70 on this at the weekend, it's like I haven't really got much in the way of gear, hence why I'm still actually wearing a lot of the job gear. So yeah, the general plan, gear up, then actually start doing Omega with the rest of the my free company mates. It's a simple plan. No, what was I short of? Was it an accessory? Or was it something else? Oh, it's technically going to be these to replace first. So I'm already wearing the ring, so I can't wear another one of them. Curses! So yeah, I only actually got the bracelet to replace, really. I suppose I could replace the earrings as well. And then actually go about replacing the main pieces. God, what a palaver. But yeah, I also haven't actually started melding anything yet. Like, yet. I do have I still have like a load of the stuff that left over from the actual story, you know, because like where it just like hands out like materia left and right to you. So it's like I still have materia 5s sitting around. And then obviously like I will get like the odd materia 6 and stuff that drops in those dungeons as well. Which is kind of handy. What's this? Ooh. Oh, I have it. Never mind. So yeah, it's like I won't bother. Whenever I'm leveling through gear set, it's like I never bother melding stuff because it's just there's no point. It's like you're basically just throwing away stuff never to see it again. Yeah, so I might as well actually run the dailies from yesterday. Because I didn't actually touch them yesterday. I don't think, did I? No, I did not. Not that I'm going to actually run that. Yeah, anything that actually gives me verity at the minute. I suppose like getting some of the creation stuff would be handy. I could basically just upgrade into higher spec stuff again every now and then. But yeah, still getting the 310 stuff at the minute. Let's start at the bottom and work up. See like how many years we have to wait as DBS. It won't be that long, to be honest. Not for trials anyway. That's a weird thing to see on Twitter. So I was just looking at something else and it's just like a thing for like Michael Phelps races a shark. As you do. Very, very strange. And yeah, it's the good thing with EU stuff, you don't have to wait too long, even when it is like early-ish in the morning. I mean, realistically, coming in and queuing it when it was 10 AM might have been like a smidge too early, but That's the thing now. You gotta get up, gotta walk the dog. It's important. Say that, and it's it's like I'm up anyway with the dog regardless at the minute. That was the thing. It's like my logic was to get up early this morning, so it's like I'll get up. I can get ready. I can walk the dog. I can be back in time. Start the stream, but not wake up too early, because you know I'm doing stuff on here all day, and yeah, it was a case of I got woken up maybe an hour earlier than I wanted to, because the dog decided that it was a good idea to sleep outside my room, like right on the landing last night. And if you've never had a dog, dogs snore. And I was woken up by like this massive dog snore outside my room. And yeah, he's perfectly content to kind of sleep. It's like even right now, yeah, it's like I'll walk him in the morning and like he'll sleep, and he probably won't actually move that much until the afternoon, and even then it'll only be because I'll be making myself something to eat for lunch. You know, because he'll want to try and pilfer some of that off me, and then once he realizes he's not getting any of that, he'll then go back to sleep again until the evening, and then it's basically a rinse and repeat. And then he'll have food this evening. I'll then walk him, and then once he's walked, he's like, eh. He takes after me very well. He's a very lazy dog. Oh, that's actually something I wanted to do. Is anyone else? Yeah, this is like the joys of having like new servers, by the way. For the longest time, I was the only person with an apartment here, because again, like because I transferred over. Ooh, pop. Let me actually just see very quickly. Yeah, so there's actually only me and one other person. I was the only person for like the first couple of weeks of this server existing who actually bought an apartment there. And that was only really because I had an apartment over on the previous server, and oh no, why why this trial? Sorry, that's completely derailed me. Oh good lord, we've got DPS for the first time here as well. Yay! But yeah, so it's like the joys of having the transfer onto Omega. It's like they basically gave you your money back for your apartment and stuff like that. Oh boy, this is gonna be rough. So yeah, it's like I just like bought it right next to where I was essentially going to be like with the free company. They have a house here in like the same district and stuff. And yeah, it's like it was just basically me and no one else for like the longest time. I'm gonna actually hide underneath this guy. I do not want to be grabbed by anything else. I'm just going to quietly do my DPS underneath, not get the attention of any other mobs. Ow! Burning! Burning! It's hot! It burns! It doesn't actually seem to be doing much in the way of damage. It's being like counteracted by heals and stuff, so it's not exactly as if it's like a big deal. This is the only thing I will say with Red Mage, and this happens a lot with the level once you hit level 70 on classes now. Because Square Enix have done such a good job at improving a lot of the classes. Now admittedly a lot of them still have issues. But yeah, for the most part, because a lot of them have like really nice changes to like the existing classes and stuff, a lot of them feel a lot nicer at level 70. But because a lot of those are like level 60 plus abilities, at the same time, a number of the classes also kind of feel like they're a little bit balked when you go back down into like lower level. It just doesn't feel as nice to play. And you know, that'll happen. I mean, it's not as if it's like it's a, you know, a monumentally bad thing or anything, but it's like you definitely notice it when you come back down. And yeah, it's like when I was, like before I got on this, like when I was still playing Astrolugion, like you really notice it on that, just because like the post level 60 changes they have are so good. And like yeah, and in the last patch when they were fixing things, because apparently, you know, Astrolugion was so broken but they needed to give us even more stuff. And yeah, now it's like even more better. So it's probably one of the most, I would probably argue it's probably one of the most complete classes in the game right now. At level 70. But yeah, because of that, it feels so wrong playing it at low level. It really does. And yeah, Red Mage isn't so bad. It's like you still more or less have your rotation. It's only like if you go like super low level. But yeah, like for the most part, it's fine. Oh, screw it, we'll just take it to the face! Wasn't that much damage. Disappointing. Was hoping for a pile of damage. We're not even... Oh, actually no, we're just about coming to the halfway point on this, and he's got less than half health. So it's not as if we're gonna have issues defeating it. It's just that this is just one of these trials that does seem, for whatever reason, to really drag on. And I suppose it balances out. There's the ones you get for, you know, like the very end of the Realm Reborn story. I'm trying to remember what the name of the trial is, but it's like where you have like the single boss encounter, and yet it decides that like you need like a massive full party for that, and it's over in like 2 seconds now. It's like I really could have done with them kind of tweaking some of those a little bit, but yeah. Yeah, a lot of like the trials are just like a crapshoot now of whether you actually get like a fast run or something that just seems to drag on forever. But hey, I mean, it's still fun. I mean, this is like the thing that like changed my mind on playing this over like other MMOs I was playing. Because I came into this game from Star Wars: The Old Republic, and the big problem they have with that game is replayability. Like, basically, once you play the stuff in that, it gets very old. It's like this, like, the fun of actually playing it gets taken out of it. Whereas with this stuff, it's like, sure, with like this kind of thing, it's like it can seem a little bit repetitive, but you can still actually have fun playing the classes and playing through it. So it's like, it's not as if like it becomes a chore or anything like that. It's like you can still actually like really enjoy playing. And like the Old Republic doesn't actually help itself because at least recently, they've had a right awful time of like updating their PvE content. Oh, was I underneath him? We just wiped that. I wasn't paying attention to that at all because I was talking. Oops. I just wasn't paying attention to that at all. That's so bad. How much has he got left? Oh, he's on left. Oh dear. That was silly. I clearly wasn't the only one who wasn't paying attention though, because we literally all just like there's so many of us that went down in one go there. Oh dearie me. All right, we'll actually go back in. Yeah. Oh dear, that was so funny. I can't believe we actually did that. Oh my word. Oh dear. It was finished anyway, but oh, that was so silly. Oh my word. That was so I got 2 commendations for that. I don't see how. Like, I'd like to know who determines like some of these commendations at times. It's like I generally always give mine to either a healer or a tank that I see doing stuff. I very rarely give it to a DPS unless like they actually give me something useful. Like I quite like it when the Dragoons give you their damage buff and stuff like that. So it's like if I see them doing that a lot, it's like I'll usually give them a quick commendation. Oh dearie me, so many of us died on that one hit though. It's like no one was paying attention at all. That was so bad. But yeah, it's like comparing like this game to like things like the Old Republic and stuff. I mean, the easiest example I can actually give is like their end game content, which is different. So like the Old Republic does still release content, obviously. A lot of their stuff has been primarily story based though, which obviously, you know, it's like, first off, this game does also release story based content. We've just had a big one, haven't we? And you know, generally speaking, the Old Republic stuff is usually more carefully orchestrated in terms of it has a little bit more voiceover control, obviously because this gets translated and then effectively dubbed over into English. You don't get like things like the mouths lining up properly and stuff, but you don't pick up on that really when you're actually getting invested in the story. I actually really enjoyed Stormblood, but the thing where the Old Republic really lacked for a long time was its endgame content, because when it was like new and they were still investing a lot of money into it, they had a lot of raid content and stuff, But the final thing that kind of stopped me from ever looking at it was back in January. And a big thing there was, at that point in January, they hadn't released any new PvE endgame content, like the proper big raids. They hadn't done anything like that in 2 years at that point. So like pretty much everyone who actually was interested in the endgame, like obviously like my main thing I want to do now is get geared up so I can do the Omega stuff and things, you know, that's the next piece of endgame in this. But they hadn't actually released anything new in 2 years. They basically like retuned it for the new level cap and stuff like that, but they hadn't released anything new. So in January, what they said was that they would design a new dungeon style setup to release it as like very specifically their 8-man content, so kind of similar to what they do in this with the full groups. So a number of us were wondering, well, you know, what exactly does that entail? And basically all it was that it was going to be one main raid that they were going to be releasing a boss at a time. So kind of similar to what they do in this, where it's like you basically get, you know, either like the different turns or the different steps, you know, that sort of thing. Where it's like you basically run through a certain amount of, I'm going to say very vaguely, trash mobs, and then you eventually end up at like a final boss, right? And they were basically going to say like, well, we're going to be releasing this, it's going to be one of these bosses every, I think they said like every 3 months or something at the time. Then it's possible that they changed this at this point, but they were saying like, this is basically going to be it, and they weren't going to be doing anything else apart from this one set of content. And it's just like, yeah, it's going to take us this time, because they only have like a tiny team over there as well. But it was like kind of one of those of, they needed to kind of release something completed, like a big full setup rather than like individual steps. And yeah, it pissed off so many people who had actually stuck around. Because yeah, like their big thing had been, you know, focusing on the story for ages, and you know the story was nice enough, but yeah, like it was kind of like what I was saying before. Like there was no replayability. It's like where's your replayability? There's like how on earth are you sustaining your player base? And you know the PvP has always been like completely balked in that game. I mean, it still has its supporters. Like they've got like a little tiny, like dedicated PvP community, kind of similar to this game. This is, I would argue that Final Fantasy XIV is primarily PvE based, although some of the PvP players might hate me for that. But yeah, I mean it's mainly because of that. They just weren't holding on to players, and it was impossible to kind of get any new players up to the sort of quote unquote raid standard, because people would they wouldn't be bothered with it, because it's like, oh well, it's stuff that was like 2+ years old at this point, why would you bother? So yeah, it was a whole thing with the Old Republic. I mean, it's a nice enough game if you can kind of, if you've never played it, because it's like it's very much kind of a, and it's always been like this, where it's like it's nice to kind of play through that story stuff once, but then once you've kind of played through it, that's kind of it. Whereas, you know, I have no issues like constantly replaying stuff in Final Fantasy XIV. And it's technically no different to what I'm doing in here. It's like it's basically it's like you're basically grinding and replaying through content, but there's enough there where the variations keep it interesting, the classes are fun to play, and so on and so forth. And they do keep releasing new stuff all the time, at least. So, you know, it's not as if there isn't always that new stuff coming. Let's actually see if anyone's hanging out. There's only so many of us on this morning. We'll see if actually anyone's around. They're probably all doing their own stuff at the minute, in fairness. Actually, while I'm here. Da 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 da. Put my boy back in. Left them out for too long. I really haven't bothered leveling up my chocobo at all. It's like level 6, I think. Yeah. I really should actually put some effort into it. I don't think have I got any food on me? I haven't. I don't think. This is where I haven't actually got any stuff left either on a retainer. Ooh, Cynthia's doing Heavenward Dungeons. Oh, I might actually join them on that. Cause that would be cool. Yeah, Cynthia's running stuff for their anime. So it's like, I appreciate the pain. We'll see if this pops while I'm here. Actually, no. I am going to be nice and help out. I could be mean and not, but I'm too much of a nice guy. Someone says do they don't want to help, and it's like, oh well. Hey, da da da. Oh dear. Cynthia's banking on the fact that I'm level 70. It's a trap. We're doing it, we're not doing it synced anyway, so it'll be fine. Power on. A tank and doesn't get Q-pops. Surprising. Actually, that's probably more of a case of just wants to run stuff quickly. I'm probably going to go over the top of it here, so not that it particularly matters with this stuff. It'll be dead before it matters. Yeah, this is the one to say. This is kind of the more chill thing you can kind of do to help people out, just like running stuff decent. And in fairness, people helped me when I got my Astrolugian anima. That's the only one I've actually bothered doing as well. I had I basically had nothing to do around about, I don't know, like a month or so before Stormblood launch. So my logic was, you know, because like I said, I'd only really played Astrolugian because like it was like I wasn't that fussed about any of the DPS stuff at that time. What was that? And Paladin, because like, you know, I was a sucker for punishment. So it's like I stuck with that. But like I only actually bothered getting my anima with Astro, and yeah, so it's like it was just a month of work, just painful grinding, and it was kind of one of those where it's like, never again. I refuse. It's like, I will not victimize myself again. Well, no, I say where you start getting like painful flashbacks. It's like, not the light grind. And yeah, it's like I'm not sure if I still actually have it in my inventory. I haven't moved it over to my retainer yet. But yeah, it was like kind of one of those things of, it's like I got it and I can still use it obviously as a, oh, this is gonna suck. Oh no, it still doesn't actually, it doesn't do anything to me when I'm level 70. That's fine. Apart from the fact it just basically stuns me, so it's like I can't do any damage for like ages. I nearly kicked me out of the area then. But yeah, it's like I like the look of them, so it's like if I really wanted to, like I would go and get like a. It's gonna take forever because I can't do anything to it. That's alright, Cynthia got it. It's just me getting stunned over and over. But yeah, it's like I would never do that again now. It was like once is enough, and yeah, it's like I don't mind helping people out getting theirs and stuff, but yeah, I'm not doing that grind again. No. Yeah, once was more than enough for that. Never again. Getting the 271, like basically the step before you get the Lux version of it. That's the one that nearly broke me, just because it was so much aimless grinding. It's like people have got the numbers behind the scenes now, so it's like you can more or less work it out, you know, like just in terms of you know, like roughly how many runs of certain types of content it would take. But still, it's a right pain in the arse. It's like you'd end up with a situation where I think like the shortest option was think it's like 48 runs of Alex Savage, I think, is the shortest option. I think that was the shortest one that people had worked out anyway. Because it had like the highest base reward, and then that corresponds to like the highest bonus reward to the amount of light you'd kind of gather per go. I need to actually balance my mana out here at some point. But yeah, it was like, because like, you had like no exact way of knowing how long it was taking outside like the very general like runes that you have to fill up. It was just mind-numbing, because like you just have to like run like it was so many runs of just like the same stuff over and over and over again. So yeah, that nearly broke me. The other stuff though, like actually the last step you do, like to get the 275, was really nice by comparison. Oh, for God's sake. So yeah, like compared to that, the 275 step was really, really nice, because I think it's like 6 or so runs. So you know, there's nothing really to that. Ow. Yeah, so like there's nothing really to that very last step, but yeah, like the one before that, like the 270 step, ugh, broke me as a person. It really did. Ruh-roh. What's happened to Cynthia? We appear to have lost our tank. Or they've gone AFK randomly. Pork. Oh dear. We were going so quickly. It was almost over. Nice that lets you keep some of this stuff as well. I mean, like that's from the like one of like the middle steps, I think. Maybe like the 260 step, something like that. Flashbacks. See, it's like I could run on, but it's like I don't want to be like too far ahead. I'm always tempted just like to keep going, because it's not as if anything can really kill me in this bit. just run through and let them catch up. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Yeah, hopefully they're okay. They haven't replied to me yet in game. halfway through something and then they just disappeared. What is this madness? Oh, I thought I was going to kill them. God damn it. Boo. Hey, I think they're back. Cynthia apparently is having issues. we shall carry on and clear to the boss. This is the thing. It's like because you're doing it desynced. It does count your gear into account, and it just makes it so easy. And yeah, it actually saves a little bit of time because it means we're not waiting for trash clears. I could realistically finish the boss, but I kind of feel like that's a bit not so much redundant, but I feel like if I've kind of come into a dungeon with someone with the intention of running the dungeon with them, I should actually let them catch up for a boss. Trash doesn't really count, you know. Trash is what it is. Yeah, just because I'm kind of being lazy and running through this, I'm really not paying attention to my, to making sure like my two magics are balanced. I'm just going, yeah, whatever. What's the point? I probably should I probably should turn on the option to see cutscenes and stuff again, just so I can show them on stream every now and then. Just because I have that option turned on for where it just skips the cutscene if you've seen it already. So there's not really much in the way of cutscenes that I haven't seen. There's only going to be the Omega stuff that I haven't started yet, but that's it. I'm kind of tempted just to run this, just get it done. But they did say they were going to be right back, so they just have to answer the door. It's no biggie. This boss is one of those ones where it's always hilarious if people haven't run it, because it's always painfully obvious when you don't know the mechanics of it. I don't think it would actually do any damage to me, to be honest. I think it's just like with coming in here as level 70, I just don't think it does enough where it actually causes damage. Unless it's like one of those where it does cause like a set percentage of damage. But I don't think that's how this one works. Should we see where they're at? So yeah, they're still at where we were the last boss, you see. No pressure, Cynthia. Everyone's waiting. See, the only thing I'm thinking of is if I run it and they're not here, because they're doing it for their anime. I'm not sure if they actually have to be present for it to count, or whether it's just a clearance and exit that counts. I can't remember what the condition requirements are for that. Because like some of them have the thing like where you have to have like the anima is like your current equipped weapon and stuff when you leave and stuff like that. So it's like I don't kind of want to overly complicate matters potentially by just like clearing it and exiting out. And I say it's not as if I'm in a rush or anything. I mean, I think one of the other guys in our company wanted to run something as well then. Oh yeah, it was, yeah. Banshee wants to run something. So I think they probably would need us like, in a little while, but yeah. I do actually want to try and do the sorry, he says getting a drink. I do actually want to try at some point on here, because I really like the co-op stream stuff. I do want to see, if possible, and again this will probably be something I'm desperately trying to organise with the free company, if it's possible, to kind of do a raid run with the free company, but have us all in a co-op stream on Mixer, just so you can see it from every single player perspective. For some reason it's just really intriguing me, like the whole co-op stuff. Again, because I like that sort of I do like the idea of having like the community cooperation stuff that goes on Mixer. And like, especially like for an MMO where like the group stuff really matters, I kind of feel like it would be really cool. So I may try and see if we can actually get stuff like that organised, just because I just feel like it would be really, really cool to do. Yeah, Symphy's on the way now. Let them fight. Yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to be a long run. The amount of damage being done here relative to You spoiled my fun. I was just about to do my melee rotation. How dare you? For this, you will die. I don't know, I just built up my melee rotation, do it now. Either way works. It's very lazy gameplay at this point. Hey! Managed to get it all out there before it died. Oh dear. We'll just see if they still actually need more people. They might not actually need any more DPS, but... So yeah, you got much planned today, Nimbus? Or are you kind of just chilling? As we do. Yeah, I guess they did actually need help, because all I actually put in FC chat then was, do you still actually need people? And they just invited me. But yeah, today is big streaming day. I'm actually still vaguely planning on going to the gym today, but it probably will be like sometime after 11 o'clock at night. You see, napping is the way to go, man. I mean, clearly if it works for my dog. Yeah, dude, I've just got hooked on Red Mage. It's like I can't really see myself like playing much of the other classes right now. I will say White Mage does look pretty nice though. Yeah, cats are also the same sort of thing, dude. Yeah, totally. But yeah, if I was gonna play healer, I'd probably still stick to my Astro, but it's like it's gonna take an awful lot to pull me off Red Mage now, to be fair. I used to have cats all the time growing up. Murphy, my dog now, he's 6.5. Yeah, around about 6.5. But he's the first dog I've ever had, and he's the best. I've actually, he says as he bangs his mic, I've actually just seen like the length of the queue wait, just because it's only 3 DPS of us in this. It's like there's other people in the FC saying they'll help, and it includes a tank. Just add them to the group. Look, 1 tank, 5 minutes. Oh, dearie me. Oh, I was about to say that's what I was doing as well. I was, before I actually went into that last dungeon, I was going to check my retainers for some food for my chocobo, but I'll have to wait until after this as well. God damn it. Actually, I did hear an interesting tidbit about this recently, where it's like, this is actually only in the game, apparently, because some other content wasn't ready, like, at all, so they had to kind of like just rush push this out, just so they had like some new trial content for people. Apparently this was never meant to be out when it was. This was like meant to be something else, but it was apparently quicker for them to develop this. Like, I like stuff like that. Like, it kind of shows that Square Enix are actually human. Oh, I haven't got... Again, this is kind of where it's like, I don't really have all my skills. We will have to cope with what we have. But yeah, I do like this. So it's very chilled. It's just like it's the music that gets me. Now, I wonder, because I haven't actually checked this, but I would assume that they've added in a red mage weapon for this. I would have thought so anyway. I could be wrong, but I would have thought they would have added one. As I say, I honestly haven't looked. Now I want to see what it is, if it does exist. They did? Oh, yeah. I kind of figured it'd be something they would do. Oh, that's the point, yeah. I don't go into the gold source enough anymore. I think the last stuff I went in there for was probably some of the hairstyle unlocks. And I think that was probably about it. I haven't been in there since. So I just don't go in there enough anymore. I'll have to have a look at some point. But yeah, I love the music in here because it's just so daft. I'll have to see. I will have to see if someone's actually got the red mage weapon. Either that, or I'll go and look on the. I'll go and look on the market board. No, don't attack! Please don't attack the boss. It's like, yeah, it's like in before someone wipes us for attacking the boss. He's taking an awful lot of damage there. Might need to slap someone when we inevitably wipe in a minute. It's like, just wait for the inevitable wipe because someone's attacking it. I think Cynthia's pulled it away now, so we should be okay. I'm gonna get you. Yeah, the general idea is to take the ones that are like the mages and stuff first, just because you can wipe them out quick. Like, I'm doing a buttload of damage to this guy. Wait for this to go. Yoink! Because yeah, they don't have as much health and stuff. You can beat the crap out of them. Yeah, I will have to, now that I know it exists, I am going to have to go and have a look at the weapon. If I assume it won't, it probably won't even drop now as well. You know, because it's the game's way of being cruel to me now that I've actually shown an interest in a weapon. It's like, oh, you like the idea of the weapon, do you? You will never see it. It's like, if I hadn't mentioned it, it would have dropped. It's one of those. I do quite like the, you know, the full gear set you can get for the glamour. I have seen, basically tanks running around with like a full set of gear on, because it looks so ridiculous. So we've got the rogue ones. Oh well, ninja. Do they have anything more on them? No, they've just got the little head. That's a bit boring. I'm gonna pass them that through. Oh, I was gonna give you the commendation. Fine. Newbie DPS can have it. I'm gonna go look for it now. Like, now that I know it's a thing, I must find it. I think it's something that you can put up. Bum ba dum ba dum bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. It's gonna be hang on. They were all leaving anyway there, but it's gonna be a relatively lower level one though, isn't it? Ah. Oh dude, check that out! Okay, that actually is quite cool. That looks way fancier. Check that! little handbag. It's like, how come the other ones aren't that cool? I bet you, how much is this? Yeah, I haven't got that much money on this character. Well, it's like, I have, but I can't really justify that. That's quite nice. I bet you all of these ones are similarly priced. They actually, they've put an awful lot of effort to put the extra effects on these. I'm kind of must resist. Oh, that's quite cool. With the flame glow on it. That's pretty cool. I suppose with this stuff, I'm pretty sure they haven't added in a red mage anima. Not that I'd ever do that thing again, mind you, but I just wonder if they've made these look quite fancy to kind of counter that a little. Because a lot of the other ones for some of the other classes look boring as hell. See, some of these aren't actually too badly priced, but see, that's quite cool. Yeah, I'm a sucker for things with fancy effects on it. I mean, that's pretty much like the that was the primary reason for going for the Astro anima in the first place. It was pretty much just purely because it's shiny. It was like admittedly at the time it was the best weapon, but it's also one of those of where it does look quite shiny. Yeah, it's not that I don't mind this one actually either, because it does still have like the glow to it, but yeah. The only thing that gets me with the weapons sheathed and stuff is that they do have a habit of clipping with stuff. I'm a sucker for stuff clipping in games. I know some people don't mind it, or like don't even pay attention to it, but it's like, it's even stuff like, where's my tail coming out of here? You know, it's the little things. Or like when I run, it clips with this part of the cloak at the back. Damn you. So yeah, there's little things that wind me up. That was the only reason why when I made this set, for the glamours and stuff, it's like I spent way too long like checking bits and pieces over, because I was like, well, first off, I wanted to have something that was from the FanFest stuff anyway, even though this is a dyed variant of it. So it was like, it was a case of it's like I wanted to use it because it's like, hell, I've got it for the FanFest stuff anyway. It's like I need to use it at some point. It's like I must justify the cost. So it's like I ended up dyeing it and stuff so that I could then dye the hat and stuff as well. But some people don't like the fact that like the ears come out and stuff. But it's just like, well, where else would they go? But that's a whole other thing. But yeah, like stuff like that where it's like you want to make it where like stuff doesn't clip, and it's just like So if you pick up on something, it just drives you bonkers. Not that I'm a stickler for these things, but yeah, it's things like that. It's like I had to make sure that like when I was getting this, like the actual card deck and stuff doesn't clip and things. I just, pet peeve. And that's actually, I would probably argue that's another fault that I would blame the Old Republic for, because a lot of their gear was awful, like absolutely chronic at like stuff clipping. Like you had like textures that were all over the place. The cloaks in their game, the physics on them constantly broke, so you'd end up with like just stuff appearing at like random intervals. It's just So yeah, I think because it was so bad in that game, like although it's really quite nice in Final Fantasy XIV, it was like it's like just little tiny things that you pick up on. So yeah, there's a few things every now and then. But yeah, before I do queue, I am actually going to check my retainers. I don't think I've actually got any Chocobo stuff left though. I don't think so anyway. Oh yeah, yeah, EverQuest was another one. Yeah, EverQuest 2 is one of the first MMOs I played. I mean, I started like... I mean, for me, the order was like EverQuest, then EverQuest 2. I only played EverQuest a little bit because I was a little bit too young. But EverQuest 2, then Matrix Online. I then ended up actually working on Pirates of the Burning Sea. I also worked on Gods and Heroes, and I've done like other bits and pieces like internally, but I can't really talk about for stuff because like internal projects you never talk about, even though like they might never see the light of day. It's like you can't actually talk about them. So yeah, it's like I did like stuff like that in gaming before like doing other stuff. Like now, like a lot of my stuff's like a little bit more technical, so it's like doing the writing over on logical increments or like other stuff. Yeah, it's a little bit more technical than what I did in the past, but it's all good fun. So I more or less cleaned this out actually. Did I? Yeah. I did a very, very conscious effort of hiding my retainers when I transferred, and also It's just like, because basically all my stuff got dumped onto my 2 retainers for my apartment. And then like when I actually moved stuff over, that's kind of like the apartment was the first thing I bought because I was like, I need to get this stuff off the retainers. So I haven't got anything for that there. Has the other one got anything? I don't think they have. I think this was the... Yeah, this was the Palace of the Dead junkyard. As I've only actually got the plums left. Only the plums. But yeah, man, I've played my fair share of MMOs over the years. It takes a lot to kind of get me to stick with one these days. But that's kind of like why I was like staying with Final Fantasy for so long now. I've still got so many of them sitting in here. Just why? What am I going to do with them? It's like I might as well not bother. I've still got 1 or 2 housing pieces still stuck in here, like the various permits and stuff for NPCs. I haven't got anything else though. Gonna have to buy some. Because I haven't actually bothered. This is why I don't have any money on this character either. I need to actually level. I do need to level crafting and gathering on this. I've oops. Yeah, it's like I've hardly touched. Yeah, it's like it needs a lot of work. I only bother with level work it and minor. I do actually need to go through and do this at some point. That actually might end up being like one of my things I do on stream. So it's like there's actually not going to be anything happening. It's just people just we'll just kind of chat and we'll do a load of gathering. Oh, dude, Ultima, that's old school. The only Ultima thing I played was like Ultima. It was either like Ultima 7 or 8, I think it was. But it was one of those games that my like back then it was like something like my dad was buying. And yeah, that would have been ages ago because like it's like. It's like I blame my dad entirely because it was like stuff like that, and then there was like Doom very early on, one of like the first like games he showed us, and then like stuff like Red Alert and things as well, and then there was Final Fantasy VII, which if they ever finish this remake, it'll be brilliant. just quietly hoping they actually get to finish it, because it seems to be taking them a million years. Yeah, you're only a few years ahead of me then, because I'm 32. Yeah, I've been doing stuff for a long time, because again, it's like part of it was like through work and stuff as well. So it's like you kind of end up like doing stuff as work. But that's my excuse. It's like, it's work. But yeah, probably like more like around about like 15 or so for me. Give or take. Earth and Beyond. God damn, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Yeah, 11. Like, I'm not entirely sure why. 11 just never hit my radar. I'm not sure what else I was doing at the time. Admittedly, it might have actually have been, like, because of like the other stuff I was working on at the time. It might have just have like just cleanly missed my radar for when it got brought out. Because like I was working at Flying Labs, so it's like I knew a couple of people from SOE, but like it was more like their their community team. Like, so it was like it was like more people like Amy, who was over on their community team for ages, and then they had like the likes of Brass and stuff come in, and like it was more like knowing those sort of people, like versus anyone else, because like that was like the only really, at least from our side of things, that was the only interaction we majorly had back and forth. But yeah, different side stuff. Back when SOE was actually a big studio. May it rest in peace. Oh dear. I'm still salty that EverQuest Next will I'll never get to see the light of day. That was one of the more cooler things of again, like, because like I knew those guys through working on like Pirates and stuff. It's like when I went to one of the SOE fanfests, I got to see like the behind closed doors clients, and oh, if they'd actually been given the time to build that out, it would have been so good. It sucks though, man. It's like that's one of those sort of ones where it's like I would have given anything to let them have the time to actually like finish like properly developing and fleshing that out, because like in fairness there was a lot of new stuff they were having to work through, and obviously like Landmark just showed how much trouble they were having, just both on a technical standpoint as much as like actually developing content. But yeah, it would have been great if they'd been given that time to actually do that, but yeah, at that point it was like so far into development. I'm not sure if that's actually being picked up on the mic, but a wasp has literally just appeared in my room here. Well, yeah, I mean, the weird thing is, let me just grab this stuff. How do you spell this? Oh, I got it right. But yeah, like the thing with it is, it's like the whole thing of them like focusing on like things like H1Z1 and stuff like that is now of course like massively backfiring on them, because it's like their logic was, yeah, we don't actually need the guy who developed the format at all. We'll just take the idea and we'll just kind of milk it for cash. And now it's like the actual guy who created the format is like, hi guys, I've actually come out with my own game, which is better than yours in every single way, and is massively more popular. Suck it. But yeah, it's yeah, and you did have it right. It's like karma is a bitch. Screw it. Actually, no. I'll buy it and save myself some pennies. I should actually start crafting and stuff to actually get myself some money. I mean, it's kind of it's been like the sort of issue with that studio for a while now. It's like they can grasp good ideas well enough, but they just don't seem to execute things particularly well. Like their game engine is perfectly nice, like graphically in terms of what it shows, but it has that many damn bugs with it. It's just awful. And yet like they never bother fixing it. There we go. We can leave them training. But yeah, it's like, I hate to see the fact that it's like, and I'm always a little bit careful about necessarily bashing a developer or something, but I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, admittedly, I did exactly the same thing to Intel last week. I had a blog post where I was, and this is like some of the stuff I do over at Logical Increments, but it was like, you know, it's like if a developer, no matter what they're doing, it's like if they are doing a bad job, and it was and in that particular piece, it was me giving them crap for what they did with like their new releases, and also like some of the stuff they've done, like bashing against AMD and stuff. But it's like, it doesn't really matter who it is. It's like, if a developer's not like either releasing a good quality product, or, you know, like is being crappy with either other companies or their staff or whatever, they need to be called out on it at the end of the day. Yeah. And that was it. It's like you could see like the writing was on the wall when like a lot of like their very experienced staff over at Daybreak started to just abandon shit. And it sucks because like a lot of them had like, some of them had like years and years of like experience. They had some of the best people in the industry, and it was just like people were just like, nope, getting out. don't want anything to do with it. You know, you hate to see that to a developer, like it's like anything, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like the buck stops with their executives and stuff. So it's like if they want to run their business like that, then, you know, that's it at the end of the day. Yeah, dude. A lot of them, again, because they are like some of like you know, some of the best in the industry. It didn't really take long for them to find like new jobs and stuff, but still sucks. That did you see the No Clip documentary about Final Fantasy XIV, by the way? Just because if you haven't, go watch it, but if you have, seeing like, surprisingly enough, seeing how much freedom Yoshida gets for this game is fascinating. It's like, because, you know, Square is a massive company. There's no two ways about it. They are a huge company. But at the same time, there was an awful lot riding on this game. And the fact that they give him the level of freedom that he has is, for one, it's surprising for a big company, but at the same time, it actually says a lot about Square, where they can, you know, they know that they've got the person they want leading the game, and they're just like, we're gonna be a little bit more, and I'm sure there's stuff behind the scenes that you don't get to see, but at least there is the perception that he has the freedom to do what he wants now with the game. Yeah, that's pretty accurate actually. He pretty much did save them. Because that was it. It's like when this effectively like tanked with 1.0, I think a lot of people were just kind of, not so much like dismissive, but I think like there was the general thing of, they've dumped a load of money into it, it hasn't paid out, that's probably going to end the Final Fantasy franchise, and that will potentially just destroy Square Enix. And like the fact that it's like basically completely reversed that situation, it's a hell of a testament. But it's like, it was also the whole thing of how they made the comment of like, yeah, basically like for the last so many years, like staff basically have hardly had any breaks, and it's like, for your own sanity, guys, it's like, we love the game, but now it's actually in a workable and playable state, and there's a lot of people playing it. Please just dial it back. Well, yeah, well, that's the thing, is like Kingdom Hearts as well has suffered massively for that. It's like for Kingdom Hearts 3, that's part of why that's been like taking forever, is the fact that like at a very high level they were like, well, they were promised more people for their team, which then effectively evaporated because of like all of this stuff. So you know, it's like there's always stuff like that that goes on, but it's like at least they've managed to get things going now. Yeah, I will say that was kind of I think that's been a big thing of why a lot of people didn't like the fact that it had the store added to the game. And it's like, yeah, it's outside of like now, obviously like they've got like the jump potions and stuff as well. But yeah, it's like, especially like with stuff like that where it's like it's effectively just like a big money spinner. I can completely understand like where people would like put negative stuff at like the very high exec level, and like as people who are only particularly playing this game, although like, yeah, you know, it's like the new Tomb Raider stuff has been quite good, and 15 15 had its issues, but you know. It was a different way to do stuff. It's becoming harder and harder. Yeah, you've actually just put the same thing in chat. It's like it's becoming harder and harder for the executives to necessarily justify not chucking like more and more stuff back at 14. And I don't think, I just like, it's not as if like they don't get like a decent sized budget. You know, it's again, for like, it's pretty much one of like the biggest development teams out there. It's probably on the same sort of size as WoW's team and stuff. But at the same time, I think there's now, certainly like for like the people who have been playing the game for a longer time, and this kind of shows up a lot in like a lot of like the fan site stuffs, and again, I think like the Limit Break Radio guys I actually really quite like listening to, but at the same time you can tell, because they've been playing the game for a long time, they can see the fact that like the player base has like been growing, generally speaking, with like each expansion and more word of mouth, and like a lot of like the players who have been around for a long time and are also like more savvy for like how this sort of stuff runs, you are starting to get that sort of weird split in a community where it's like they want to have that sort of investment put directly back into the game rather than necessarily Square Enix as a whole, and the fact that that isn't necessarily happening, at least to like the degree that some people would particularly want, like they want like more and more content and more stuff and so on and so on, because that stuff isn't happening because there are constraints still put on that. That's where you will get some people going, well, why do we have the store, why is there a subscription, why this, why that, why, and so on and so on, especially for like a growing game. But yeah, it's it's an interesting one. I mean, it's gonna be a lot harder for like executives to kind of go, we're going to take X amount of this and put it into other games, when it is pretty much, as far as like a monthly earner goes, this is pretty much it. you know, they may get spikes with like other game releases and stuff, which you would naturally get whenever like you get like a big release. And I have no doubt when eventually things like the 7 remake hit the stores and things like Kingdom Hearts 3 and stuff, I mean, there's no doubt they will sell millions of units of those. But fundamentally they will just be like a single spike in sales and stuff. And the difference is like 14 has that set monthly amount with the subscription stuff. It's a guaranteed earner for them. And yeah, like stuff like you're putting in there, it's like it's not a million miles away in terms of its player base and active subscribers and so on. I mean, even the guys who I know who don't play all the time, like even some of them who aren't active at all at the minute, they still subscribe. So I know one of my mates who actually lives over in Liverpool, he was one of the first people who actually kind of leaned me to try out this game, and he's been paying since like way back when, and up until Stormblood released he hadn't played the game. I think he said like for, I think it's like maybe 8 or 9 months, but he never dropped his sub or anything. And he still did things like he still bought the collector's edition of the expansion. I mean, I didn't buy the collector's edition because it's I didn't particularly want some of the extra bits and pieces, so like I just bought like the standard edition, but that still did me quite happily. But yeah, it's like he still did all of that, and like he basically will, like, he never stops subscribing or anything like that, and I'm sure there's many other people who do that as well. And yeah, I think it's very telling because WoW's numbers are, outside of like the slight spike they get for an expansion, their numbers are generally dropping. Whereas, and again, you can only really take it with a pinch of salt, but like the general consensus is that the player base and stuff on 14 is rising. So I would generally say it probably won't happen within this expansion cycle, but you know, if they keep releasing stuff over like the next year or so, I would be very surprised by, certainly by the time it gets to the next expansion, if they keep developing and, you know, building on what they have, I would be very surprised if 14 doesn't dethrone that, because there's no there's no way, at least in terms of how things are going with the two games right now, where that wouldn't happen. And admittedly, yeah, I mean, part of not actually getting the collectors isn't so much that I didn't want the stuff, it's that I don't have the space for the stuff. And like some of it's like little stuff, like I don't really use minions as much. I use mounts and stuff. Mounts are quite cool. That's also like why like I bought things like the Bennu mount. I didn't have to buy this, I just quite like the look of the thing, because this is a damned expensive mount as well. But like it's stuff like that where it's like I can be particular about stuff I do spend in the game, but like I didn't get the collector's stuff mainly because where I set things out for like playing and things, I literally don't have a space for a statue. I mean, the actual statue thing for the collector's thing looks cool, but I just don't have space. I don't have space anymore. It's like I could probably like reorganize stuff, but it's like I already have various game stuff out and I've got like racks of stuff, and it's like I don't want to leave it in a box because that seems a bit pointless. But then at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's like I kind of invest in other things. Like that's kind of like why I've got like stuff like the FanFest stuff and things as well, because like I quite happily invested in that sort of thing. But yeah, it's like I would be very surprised. Wow, I got this from a leveling roulette. Cool. I'm down with that. But yeah, it's like I would be very surprised if this doesn't overtake it at some point within the next 2 years. If it doesn't actually happen just organically, by the time, assuming it keeps to the same development schedule, I would be very surprised if this doesn't overtake them. Like by the time the next expansion would hit. See, look, this stuff is what gets me to vote for a DPS for commendations. You know, if I see them actually using stuff, that's what gets me. You know, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to get me to vote for a DPS, because my natural inclination, because I've played primarily a healer and a tank up until the expansion, really, and well, I still played Astro through the expansion. It's like my natural inclination since playing this is just to vote for them, but yeah, I'll still give a DPS some love. Yeah, but I don't have that many group utility options really. And yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I think I do think that's part of why Square give him a lot of leeway, is because they know that if they give him the leeway, he will deliver them like a good quality, like top end product. Yeah, totally. The Rockstar stuff is actually pretty accurate, in fairness. I mean, some people think it's a bit much, especially like in terms of like how fans react to him and things. But it's like, especially like for the 1.0 guys, it's like, would you not, based on what he's done to the game to date from where it was, you know? Oh, this guy's attacking me. But yeah, it's like, some people might think that's a bit odd for a game developer, but in fairness, he deserves absolutely every bit of praise that comes his way. Oh, that's why the tank went down. Okay. This has gone horribly wrong. I'm gonna die. Yay, rip. That's the only reason why I have my health stuff up over here. It's like, if it needs it, but screw it. I was tempted to start spamming stuff, but it was like, the tank's down, the healer's down. The healer needed to get the tank up way faster, but eh. Yeah, realistically though, you should never, for this particular mob here, unless you have a very good tank and a very good healer, and again, this is like how I would do it, I would never pull anything more than this guy here. Especially like for random groups, if you're doing it through roulette and stuff, because you just never know what you're gonna have as either your healer or as your tank, depending on what I was playing as. Just because like I just had zero faith. just have absolutely no faith in the other person, which is kind of wrong, but at the same time, it was kind of like one of those of where when there's that much potential things that can go horribly wrong with it, it's just not worth it. And that's it. Like again, it's like if I was, I have a very different mentality when running stuff with, like, say, people in like the free company and stuff. Because it's like I know a lot of them, I know what they play, and you know, it's like there's less of a oh, what the hell's going to happen on this pull sort of situation. Whereas whenever, if you're doing like a roulette stuff, especially like for solo stuff, it's like you just never know what nonsense is going to appear. Dude, I mean, I will say the changes they made to Paladin have been really great, but it was just kind of one of those, my poor Paladin is sitting there at level 60 because I was originally going to originally I was going to like level my Astro first and then switch over to level Paladin, but I was like on a whim I just decided to level Red Mage instead. So my poor Paladin's just sitting there at 60. I haven't touched it. And it's like I probably should actually level it up at some point. Just because I really do like the new dungeons they've added. It's just, there's so much good design work that's gone on here. But yeah, it's like, it's just, at this point it's working myself around to doing it. Yeah, it's certainly before Stormblood hit, Paladin was sort of like the red-haired stepchild of tanks, whereas it's like it still had a purpose, but it just wasn't being requested, and that really pinged me whenever I would play it, because it's just like it's like I still enjoyed it even then, and like the changes to it now are it's ridiculously good now, but yeah, it's like I just haven't got around to it. Yeah, I mean, when I came into the game, it's like I did things what most people would probably refer to as backwards when I was playing, just purely because I like to actually play through the game, because it's like I couldn't unlock Astro until Heavensward anyway. So it's like my first 60 was Paladin, and yeah, like stuff like how it's like for whatever reason it became like, you know, like the sort of, I say, like the evil stepchild of tanks. But yeah, it's like I still really liked it. And then yeah, just kind of like just stuck with it. And it is funny now, it's like, because you will get like a number of people who do flip-flop with classes, and I think that's, oh, I almost flipped into that nearly went very badly for me. But yeah, it's like you will get a lot of people who will like just flip-flop on classes and stuff, which is, it's fine to a point. But yeah, it was interesting to see all the people who sort of never gave Paladin like a second thought for ages, and like all of a sudden it's like it's the new hotness. Dude, I have done that a few times with Red Mage, like just random stuff with its because I haven't quite nailed, because it's kind of newer to me, I haven't quite nailed the distance of it yet, like at least like seeing the distance visually. So I've done some weird stuff where it's like I've completely misjudged how far the backflip goes. And yeah, it's like stuff like fighting Titan, and I've backflipped off the edge, and it's just some stupid stuff sometimes. And yeah, it's like I'm getting there, but admittedly still make a lot of very stupid mistakes. Yeah, I mean realistically it probably doesn't help me, but this is like it's the first DPS I've bothered to get all the way through to 70. I did Bard like ages ago, and again that's another one that's like still just sitting there at 60 with like me not doing anything with it. But yeah, it's like I might go back to that at some point as well, but this is like the only one I've bothered getting all the way through. So it's like I make a lot of very stupid mistakes. And yeah, it'll get better eventually. It probably won't, but I like to say it'll get better. I've got to believe. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's like I do want to eventually look back at it and try it again, just because a lot of people are saying like the changes to it are really, really good. But it is literally just sitting there, not doing anything to it yet. I say I probably do need to properly work on it. Admittedly, I am going to have a little bit more time to do stuff, because like that's like kind of the ulterior motive of me using 14 to stream with. Just because it's one of those where I'm going to have the time on stream, so if needs be, I can justify it. It's like I can do this as content. That'll work. So yeah, you know, there's stuff like that. And yeah, it's still a relative learning curve for me, but I mean I've more or less got the rotation down. It's just that I do still make a lot of very dumb mistakes. It'll get there eventually. The one thing I have found myself doing, just because of how I've laid out my hotbar and stuff, is every now and then, if I'm not paying enough attention to stuff, like instead of like doing a shorter cast skill, it's like if I haven't actually like necessarily double checked what I have running on my hotbar, on my buffs even, I will occasionally like hit a long cast thing that I shouldn't be, but Yeah, it's like just little things really. There's nothing, there's nothing too drastic, but yeah. I'm a stickler when it comes to stuff like that though. Wow, I just clipped over the top of that. But yeah, you know, there's the odd little bit here and there, but it's nothing. Again, it's Red Mage is just really forgiving, so it's not as if it's like an absolute nightmare if I don't get things absolutely perfect. Yeah. I do think it's going to be what that's. To be honest, that's the only reason why that's the only reason why I've got my cast right above the bar here for the buffs. So it's like I can just it's like trying to kind of get the idea of like just checking it at at a very quick glance. And yeah, you know, it's getting there. Slowly. But yeah, at the end of the day I'm having fun with it, so I don't mind. That would be quite a nice little thing to do. Yeah, because it would be a... I'm going to move over here. It would be a much cleaner visual cue. Because yeah, like at the minute, you are very much just looking out for the buff and things. So yeah, it's not necessarily... I'm going to bring this over here. So yeah, it's not necessarily obvious when you're just looking for the buff and nothing else. And it probably doesn't help that it's a very similar colour to other things. I'm going to go here. Haha. See, that's why I didn't go on that side, because I'd blow up. Yoink! Oh, leave it out. I didn't touch that. I'm gonna claim shenanigans on that one. Whoop. But yeah, it's like that's admittedly that's kind of one of the things they have said, but they're still looking at for multiple classes is how, like, now that the actual buff bars have been out in the wild, it's like how can they do little tweaks to improve them. Oh, just how? That's alright, it finished. Because yeah, it's like if you're it's the one main thing you are keeping an eye on. So it's like rather than just having it display for, you know, whether you're stacked for, you know, your white or black more, having it where it would actually pulse, I think would be quite a good way of doing it. But yeah, they have said it's still stuff that they are looking to improve on. I think there's actually a load of stuff. I don't know whether they... I'm trying to think from the live letter because I only watched part of it. But they have said like a number of stuff's coming in 4.1 anyway. So I do wonder if they would actually bother doing something like that. But yeah, I mean, again, that's literally a tiny nitpick. like everything else. I mean, that's the thing. It's like it's got such a nice flow to the class. It's like I can live with that one little thing, because it doesn't actually. It's one of those sort of things where it's like if you get caught out with it, it can be slightly annoying, but it's like as far as like it goes generally, it's fine. Speaking of balancing things, make that a little bit closer. I'm actually surprised that some people get confused with the rotation on Red Mage. Well, it's not exactly a rotation, is it? It's more like a priority system. I was going to give it a name, but there's not really a whole lot to it. But yeah, I am a little bit surprised that some people get confused by it, because it is a case of your skill set is basically do this or this. It's like you have an option of one or the other. It's not as if it's like it's not as if it's designed to be massively complicated. But yeah, I have seen a number of people go, it's like, how do you decide what is which? Well, it's like you literally have 2 stacks of skills. It's like, which one is lower? Use that one. I think it's, yeah, I would say that probably because of how the procs work, I think would be what's throwing some people, but it's not like, it's not horrifically bad. Yeah, it's like if you, that's the thing though, it's like if you compare it to some of the other DPS like styles and rotations and stuff out there, this plays so much smoother compared to some of the others. Yeah, that's kind of the thing as well. It's like if you've got like, depending on like how many procs and stuff you've got going, you can more or less manage the limitations of it so easily. Yeah, I will actually grab that because I think these guys are still getting gear from here. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, it's like, I've got other classes I could play. It's like, I'm not going to. Just because this is a lot of fun to play. But yeah, it's like, if I really wanted to, I could. Ow. I could play like other classes, but eh. Come on, there we go. But yeah, it's so much fun to mess with. I've seen a lot of fun different ways to kind of weave between having impact and stuff as well. Again, that's kind of like the fun part of it, because it's because you don't necessarily have to use a proc straight off the bat. You can kind of play around with when you use certain skills. So it's like you can play around with your timing to try and, it's like if you're waiting kind of on like things like your acceleration and that, it's like you can try and play around with the timing of stuff. So I've seen a lot of very, like, much more advanced sort of style of stuff for it. Yeah, there's a lot of very interesting stuff with that. And just, because he's in there with that, I'm just backing out of it. That's gonna really hurt him in the sec. Yeah, it took him down to half. But yeah, like trying to get like impact like absolutely nailed. Ow! It sucked. But yeah, stuff like that makes it like there's clearly a little bit of an upper ceiling when it comes to like how and when to use some of the skills. So yeah, I'm kind of quietly hoping I get better at that sort of stuff. I don't know, say it's very much a case of, oh boy, having to learn like the basics of it and then kind of yeah, very much what you just put actually. Just it's like partially it's a thing of rinse and repeat. Oh, he's dead. Yay. That's actually perfect timing because it's 1 o'clock. Yeah, I was planning on stopping at 1. Yeah, I've seen I actually quite like the healing. Let me just get rid of this. Yeah, I have seen a lot of people. It's like rather than necessarily rather than trying to use like a proc straight away. So it's like rather than necessarily using the proc straight away, like using impact first to try and force a second proc. And like just little bits and pieces and stuff like that, which have been quite interesting. Because then it actually saves you from necessarily, well, if you manage to get them both to proc, then you can kind of start bouncing back and forwards to do a little bit nicer. But yeah, I've seen a lot of different styles of stuff going on, of like different ways you can kind of intermingle it. So yeah, there's a lot of like slightly higher level things I've seen that I'm kind of tempted to start messing around with. But yeah, it'll get there. It'll get there. Check this out. I've got screens for days, me. So yeah, I'm actually going off now. My main schedule, if you can call it such a thing right now, because I have time on my hands, thanks to how my schedule works with logical increments and stuff. So because of that, I'm dumping loads of my like free time into this. So I've got plenty of time. But yeah, my idea is basically to have like a morning stream, an afternoon stream, and an evening stream. Each of which are like 3-hour chunks, so I'm not like absolutely killing myself. So yeah, it'll basically be a case of I'm essentially like going off here now for like 2 hours, and then we'll do like an afternoon, and then again having a break and then doing more stuff in the evening, because I have to look after my dog as well. But yeah, man, as I say, like, thanks for hanging out anyway. That was like the one big thing, like, because like I've kind of started this completely blind. It's like I didn't know like anyone at all would be turning up, so it's nice for someone is here even on the very first one I'm doing. So thanks very much, man. I will be back, so hopefully I will see you then. Unless you're having a nap. But yeah, until then, dude, thank you very much for watching. And yeah, hopefully see you again, dude.